Hello, hello. Welcome back. We left at print table names. So now we'll get into working with SQL and how real database works. Let's start. So in general, what happens in a real database system is typically a parser um, which starts parsing the query. We can look at it like this. So you always have in a real database system, there's a parser, basic basically parses the SQL query. Then into an abstract syntax tree. Then after this, there are other things that each database does something different. It's a binding phase to do validations and things like, hey, is this table really part of the system and things like that. Validations, binding to the actual schema, table name, etc. Okay, and the binder actually uh, works by looking at the catalog, right? List of all the um, let's call it things in the system in the DB. This can be a things can be a like index. I don't know if you call index as part of the catalog, like table, schema, things like that. I mean, you can have all the whatever is part of the system is ideally part of the catalog. Let's assume that's how it is. Different systems have different meanings. For example, I think if you look at one of my favorite things, DuckDB, each it's actually divided into multiple phases. Like the parser is the one which parses the query. Then you get the binder, which I think is part of the execution, or is it separate? Part of the catalog. Then you have the optimizer, a planner, query planner. That's next step. After this is done, you have a planner which generates the query plans, right? Query plans. Then you have optimizer, right? So this optimizes the query plan, and last is the execution. Executes the query plan, right? I mean, you can find everything in DuckDB. Each part of it is actually housed in its own folder. Like, for example, the parser has all the code for parsing the SQL statement and giving back the syntax tree. Then you get the planner, optimizer, execution, catalog, storage. All of these are part of the system. Okay, so we will go into detail in each of these, but each system does its own way of parsing the query. Sqlite has its own parser. So if you go into Sqlite parser, Sqlite uses the lemon parser. Well, we're not going to use lemon for this. We're going to use something that I have worked with in the past, which is Antler. Right? So we'll look at Antler Sqlite parser. Uh, For this, what we are also going to do is we're going to stick with the standard visitor pattern for Antler, and let's see how we can make that happen. Right. So let's first get the grammar. Okay, it's visible in grammar Antler 4. Should be possible somewhere in. We can get the grammar from grammar v4, I think. Where is that? Grammars. Yeah, there you go. Grammars before. So we go here, we look at SQL. This is the catalog of all the grammars for a language. Let's go find out the SQLite grammar. We need both of them, the parser, the lexer, and we may not need the form.xml, but let's just go download these both, right? We'll put them in our folder. So SQLite lexer.g4. Let's paste it here. New file, not g4, not gy, it's g4. Let's go change that. Rename this thing. Rename it. Okay. So let's do the same thing for our parser. Where is that? Let's copy the whole thing. SQLite parser. Oops, something or IntelliJ is, oh man, IntelliJ is messing with us. What happened? Let's restart the damn thing. Mhm. Okay, so new file parser.g4. We'll get the name back again. This thing. Let's go copy this name. Refactor, rename it to parser.g4. So now what we want is we need to generate the whole visitor. So the way it works typically, Antler is takes the grammar file and generates the visitor for visiting the AST, right? And the grammar is actually defined clearly here, saying these are all the types of statement, and you go into details for all of them. Let's see how we can represent this. Why is this complaining? Cannot find dot slash SQLite tokens. But I think we need to go and put it in a different folder though. Hmm. SQLite Lexer doesn't. Okay, that's okay. Let's generate this. Antler 4 WSL. How do I get that? So WSL. Okay, wonderful. Let's go here. Go into our. What we really want is the visitor for this, right? So come on, come on, come on. Okay. Do I already have it? No, I don't. So let's do this. Mhm. Antler. I don't want to add it as a dependency though. Right? I don't want to. Rather just go and generate the visitor and check it in one shot. Can I not generate the? Is there nothing here? Auto generate parsers upon save. I don't think I'd want that. Okay, that's correct. That's all correct. Hmm. That's not what we want. Is there no way to generate parser from this? Mhm. Yes, this is what we have. Okay, so all of this is generated. I'd rather we commit this all of these into one shot to move it to new package parser and move it here. I think this will work. I don't know. Where is the parser? Okay, so it has generated in. Let's not do that. Go and generate it with Maven, maybe. Mhm. Yes, this is what we want. Catch this. Let's go to our pom.xml. Put the damn thing here. It should pick up. The source directory, src main and R4. We don't have that. Let's go create that. Right? Listener, I don't want the listener. Let's just turn it off. src main and R4. See if this thing works. Generated sources. Mm, no. Oh, let's talk to our chat GPT. Generate visitor Java. Let's see. Mm, Maven is what we want. How do we do that? This is good. Yeah, SRC main and LAR4. This is where we want, I think. Let's move these both here. Since you're grammar base visitor, I think this is all good. Let me go and generate the whole thing. Why is that? Why can't it find this Sqlite parser? Something amiss. Okay, so we are here. Again, not a problem. Where is the parser rule context? Here I can see it. Hmm. We probably need to add the until R dependency. Yeah, we haven't done that. Let's do that. It'd be good if we don't have the until R dependency, but you know what? I think for the sake of this, we can just live with it. Both here. Let's go to the properties. Do this. Should work, I think. Let's hit that thing again and see what's happening. Okay, wonderful. So it looks like it's generating the thing. Now what we want is we want to be able to extend the SQLite parser. Let's do that. Right? Nah. Alright, let's create this and extend SQLite parser. Where's the visitor? Where is the visitor? Parser base visitor. This is what I want. Why does it not detect it? Supposed to detect it. Not this. Let's figure this out later. But I wanna. Hmm. Let's say I go and it's in Antler 4, but the actual generated sources. Hmm. Let's see if we can use ChatGPT to help our problem. Not found. Antler 4 Java. Let's see. Okay, it's all good. Generated, include it. This is there. Generated parser. I don't think we need this. I don't want to do that. I don't want to include this. Can I not generate it as part of the compilation? Maven build. I also want to extend that visitor. Create an AST myself. Let's see. Uh, hmm. Yeah, I think this is what is missing. It's probably not generating it in the right package, right? Then the visitor, this is what we want. Okay, so let's do this. So we are in SQLite parser SQLite dot parser, right? So let's go and put it here. I suppose it's the same for Lexer. I don't know. Let's see what happens. Okay, let me do that. Let's run the thing again. Oh, wonderful. Okay, so I'll just rename this. Let's just rename this to SQLite Web Parser Code Crafters, right? So that'll work. Hmm, let's do that. Just delete this. It's called AST Builder, right? Okay. Let's say we create a new class. Okay, much better. I think now we are going to do a visit parse. Okay. What's causing? Since the implements parser visitor, what is happening? I don't think that's what we want though. Where is the AST builder? Mhm. This is not extends SQLite parser base visitor AST node. The AST node is just an interface. Yeah. It should be an interface. That's true. Right? But then, why is this failing? Why is this failing? What? There's something definitely off about this. I don't think that's what we would want. There's always the problem with we have this. It's not a problem. Hmm. Form example, SQLite. I think that's the problem. Okay. Let's create SQLite slash parser. Then move these both into this. See what happens. I'll comment this thing. Package name has to be proper. I think it should be this package name. Is that in the configuration? No, it's not. 41312, that's correct. Goals. Is it in the execution or somewhere? Okay, it's in the execution. Okay. Hmm. It's not here too. So why is that a problem? Goals, execution, goals, configuration, plugin, configuration, executions, execution, goals, and then configuration, visitor, listener, and package. I don't think this seems to be right. No, let's see what happens here. Generate test sources, arguments, excludes. Okay, let's see what happens. Not good. We need the generator. Sqlite parser is correct. Right, parser is correct. There's definitely some config mismatch. Will this work? I doubt it. If IntelliJ doesn't recognize it, it's going to be a problem. No. Oh well, let's just generate the parser and then we'll use it in one shot, right? Go to WSL and then we will pretty much Antler 4. We probably need to first install Antler. Let's get that. ChatGPT, thinking. So this is sudo update Java minus version. Okay, this is probably what I want. Hmm. Yeah, but Maven doesn't generate the sources though. I'm not seeing it clearly. Hmm. Okay, let's see what he says, what ChatGPT says, and try it out. Package name doesn't seem to be accepted. Valid. And put the parser in SQLite.parser. The generated code in. Is there no looks for confirmation package name option? I don't have it. Version 4.13.1. I'm using, yeah, 4.13.1. Yes. No, that's not working. Sqlite parser, that's good, but forces generated package equals to. Is this what we want? Okay, sounds good. Let's see what happens. Nope, fail. Hmm. See, failing with this. Will ChatGPT help me here? Let's close this. Okay, come on, man. Hmm. What happened? Ethernet is down. I'll just be back. Okay, resuming. Failing for some other reason. Compilation failure. I think it's because oh, we don't need the at header then. Okay, let's remove this. Interesting. Oh, wonderful. Chat GPT for the win. There we go. I think we now have a cleaner implementation. So let's go to this. So now what we want to do is we're actually parsing, we're visiting the whole tree, the syntax tree, and converting that into something that is understandable by us. So like so that we can do stuff on top of the AST. I think this is the pattern for many of the databases. SQLite does something very different though. SQLite does uses a VM and does something else. But we won't go down that path. That's a little complex for me. I think this is much more easier for me to understand. Right? Uh, so let's see. So a node is obviously something that is there in the tree. Now we would want something like a select query, right? So there's a list of statements, SQL statements. An SQL statement can contain any of these, right? So right now we are interested in select statement. So let's represent that. Call it select statement, right? And also let's have one more statement class, right? I think this is probably going to be abstract because all of these statements have to are of a type statement, SQL statement, right? In fact, let's call it as SQL statement. Be consistent with what's defined in the grammar. There's a list of statements, and we go through each of the statements, statement list, and then now we are going down the tree. You started at the top, it's a recursive descent parser. Then you look at the statement list. Then you go and see, okay, what type of statement I am in. So I'm in a visit seek select statement. So let's go do that. Let's go implement that. So implement, we have a visit select statement implemented. Perfect. We'll put this. Then a visit select statement is actually a select statement is can be a common table statement. We don't support it. So let's say if ctx dot, oh, sorry, C++, common table statement, it's not equals to null. We basically say runtime exception, unsupported operation exception. CTEs aren't supported yet. Okay, let's leave it at that. Now the next one that we have is so select core. So we don't support order by and limit as well right now. So let's also get rid of that. Order by statement is not equals to null. Throw unsupported operation exception. Order by is not supported. Okay. Let's do the same with limits. Bluetooth problems. Let's just say I'm going to copy paste this and put it here and say limit is not supported. Let's also put, okay, order by is not supported yet. Maybe yet is something that we should add. Now, mm, let's go and look at each of these things. So a select statement is comprised of a select core and then a compound operator, and a star indicates can be like an empty more select cores. What is a compound operator? Okay, so we are saying it is possible. You're basically saying select. It's something like this, right? Select star from test and then union. Okay, select star from test one. Two different tables. So this is kind of what we are saying. We don't support that as well. So if there is a compound operator, we say bye bye. Okay, compound operator is not equals to null. Man, my Bluetooth is. So new compound operators not supported yet. Okay, now we get to the meat, which is the select core. So select core, basically we are saying it's a combination. It can be implemented as a list of result columns, whatever we are selecting, a table or subquery with join. We don't support join too. We'll get there. Then there is a where clause. Then there's an optional where clause. Then there's an optional uh, group by are having. The question mark stands for optional, right? Does the question mark mean one or more, or is it? I think it's just one. Antler or grammar question mark. Does it mean single optional or multi-optional? I think it's single optional. It's probably gonna stick with the same syntax. Zero or one occurrence. Okay, perfect. It's not multi-optional. For multi-optional, zero or more, it's going to use this. If you want one or more, it's plus. So we are basically this is optional, single. So there's an optional where clause. There's an optional group by clause. Then there is an optional window definition. Okay, then there is a values clause. So I think the values, what does the values mean? Right? Values are basically value row, comma value row. It's saying it's a values clause. What does a value row mean? Open parameter, comma. Okay. So it's basically values Hmm. Interesting. I don't know why we have a values clause here, but typically the general select is just a select whatever is the result column. Either it can be an expression or a column or whatever it is from a table or subquery. There's a join, okay, or a join clause. And this is obviously again optional. From is you can just run select 1 plus 1, which will return as 2, or select 1, which is also valid. Distinct are all also optional, but select is not. This is an actual literal string literal. Result column is not it's optional, but if it's within this, it is not. If within in a single uh, select query, it is not. So if you go to result column, you will see whether you can select star or you say table name dot star or an expression as a column alias. A column alias is probably just a string literal. Okay. So an expression, this is a very complex thing. Expressions are, there can be many um, representations of an expression. An expression is just a literal value, right? Basically a string literal, that's why it's called as select one is valid, select any of these is valid. So all of these are simple expressions, right? And then you have schema name dot table name, optional again, or a simple column name, which is basically any name. And any name is a keyword, string literal, or any name. All of this is something that we understand fully. Then we are more interested to start execution of the current task as count star by looking at the function name open parent, right? So this is essentially saying uh, select count of open parameter. Then there is a close parameter. Filter over, we don't care right now, but these are again all lot of there's a lot of nuance to all of these things. Same with over and everything. Select function name is count. It's an aggregate function. Then distinct, optional again. Expression. All of this is basically something we have to handle when we do a parsing. So let's stick with the most basic one. We'll just implement count star, right? So let's go back to function name. We'll come back to this. Function simple window aggregate function visit function name. This is what we want, right? CTX of function name. Where is that? Function name is any name, right? So let's just return. Let's call it a return new any name, and let's call it CTX dot. Let's say visit any name. Okay, so we'll call it as in fact function name. This is again a node. Create the class. Create class function name, and this is, I think we'll remove the node and implement a node. Function name is actually name. Okay, so this is what we want. Uh, let's call it as what is an any name? Any name is an identifier, keyword, or any name, right? So hmm, an identifier. Let's actually call it any name. Okay, implements node, and we will basically say private final string name. So we're gonna use this here. Name dot call it as any name. Get name. Get name. Let's do it this way. You know what? I think we can just put it as uh, and maybe for this I'll go and put at data something like that, Lombok, right? Add Lombok to class path. Now this is where we have to handle this. Implement any name. Okay, so return new any name ctx of shoot ctx dot. Is it a keyword or is it an any name? Function name is any name. Is there no get thing here? Yeah, this is it. We just care about get text, right? In fact, I'm gonna cast this as any name. For now, we just cast it. I mean, there are other things that will go wrong if we do the cast. That's okay. And what we would want also is an expression. So for an expression, we will do something special. We'll basically say visit literal value, put it as bind parameter value. Okay. We'll call this schema name dot column name. Column name, and let's call it unary operator expression. Expression pipe 2. What is pipe 2? This is expression or. Right, let's put it this way. Spr or expr. This is actually star div mod. Let's call it that way. Expr star div mod expr. So we're gonna stick with the same things here. Expr plus minus expr. Same expr. LT2 stands for okay. These are shift operators, left and right shift operators. So I think it's logical, right? Logical expr, let's call it this way. Then we have I think this is where we are really looking at less than or equals to, and these are comparison, right? PR. And then this is not equals to, I mean, this is probably an evaluation, right? Single and is okay, let's call this as XPR, eval XPR. Much more easier to, this is also easier to understand now. And EXPR. Do the same thing with this. Hash EXPR or EXPR. Then we have a function name. Function. Right? This is hmm. What do I call this as? Hmm. Mm, Open var expr. I think this is a little confusing. It's okay. We'll fix it. This cast expr. This is collation expr. And we can call it as not expr maybe. And this is probably is null expr. I don't know. A lot of these are something which we don't care for right now, but we'll have to be very careful when we parse it. Is not expr. Let's say expr not been expr. Again, not in expr. Expr not exists. Let's call it as not exists expr. And then you have a case when expr. Okay. And a simple raise function expr. So this will keep Antler happy. But what is a raise function? Raise, rollback. Okay, that's okay. So let's go and generate the other things. Hmm. Compilation failure. Function name cannot find dot get any name. Okay, so it's not there here. Why is that? Yeah, I can just convert to record class. Better, easy. I don't need Lombok anymore. Sqlite AST builder missing return statement. Let's fix that. Okay, so we are good up to this part. Now comes the interesting bit. So how do we? Okay, let's actually do the function thing. Okay, so just return new node here. Return new any name. Just leave it like this. I wanna do a full generation first. Hold on. Okay, back again. How about that, baby problems? So, where were we? So we came up to this point, and okay, so let's say sout ctx dot get text, right? So we'll print this. Where's the page test? So a test ignore public void test count star. Okay, those exception and SQLite AST builder dot visit. This is where we need some kind of a. How do I use Antlar's token builder string? It must be here. Yeah, there we go. Parser, and this is what we want. Okay, car streams is pretty much. I'm gonna do the and parser dot. What we want is where is that? Come on. Hmm. Yes. Now we do the music tree. Select count star from apples. Right? So let's keep it this way. So SQLite AST builder dot visit tree. Right now, if I run this, I should be printing the name of the function, right? Which is count. No class def found error. Why is that? What's happening? Hmm. I mean, each language has its own problems. C++, I faced a lot of challenges with CMake and figuring out how to make that work. I think this no class def is always taxed. I mean, standard problem we see in Java is a mismatched class path somewhere here or there, or something we have to figure out. We don't need Lombok. Let's remove this. What does ChatGPT say? Reading the, excuse me. Hmm. Let's just remove the generated code. Delete this and see what happens. Sync finished. But Maven. Let me generate sources and update folders. It ought to work. Hmm. I don't care about Lombok. I don't want it. Generate sources and sync this. Record classes I don't need. Lombok. Hmm. What's the problem though? I think whatever we've added caused some problems here, right? Yeah, I think this is what it's saying. EXPR or EXPR context. So is this conflict with something? Okay, so this is the problem. Let's call it pipe 2 just in case. Any place else? Nothing. Let's go build it. Hmm. SQLite AST builder. Don't need this now. Hmm. What's happening? Okay, so the Maven build is successful. Something else. See if the test is working now. Failed to create compound operators are not supported yet, but I didn't do anything. Why is it going into compound operator? Okay, but it did parse it, not a bad thing. Is that treating it as a compound operator though? Why? The select statement, select core. Hmm. So, why is it treating it as a compound operator? Sounds odd. Okay, maybe I should. Is it case sensitivity? I don't think so. Should be the case. Okay, so it is definitely treating it as a compound operator. Let's get that. So there is something in compound operator, but what is that? Oh, okay, so it's an array, right? So that's the problem. I think I get it now. Hmm. It will not be null, not size is greater than zero is what we really want. So we came here and now I'm returning any name, so it won't work. So what we're gonna have to do is now let's go and look at the whole thing, right? So we need to do the visitor for select core, right? A select core is basically a select statement. A select statement is let's implement node, okay, and this thing it's a mark node is a marker interface. So let's say private string from table. This is a table name. We are not talking about subqueries. We're not talking about any of that. It's a pure table. And then we have a private optional expression. Call it parsed expression. Okay. Where clause. Now I picked this up from DuckDB. I'll talk about that a little bit. So let's have it a parsed expression. Implements node. Okay. Where clause. Again, this is also optional, right? Then we have private optional parsed expression column. So where are we? We are at select statement. Okay, so the select statement is select core is a result column. So we'll visit the result column. Okay, select core, right? So visit select core dot get of zero. We are only looking at one statement, right? Let's also throw an error there. Select core dot size is greater than one. Throw new unsupported. Only one select statement is accepted. Okay. So we visit this, let's say select statement, and we basically gonna return select statement. I'll cast this as select statement. Now let's go to select core. Let's implement that. Yeah. So select core, I'll just return new select statement. This is what I wanted here. So that's what I'm casting it to. Okay. So for select core, where expression. So we'll visit this. but I'm more interested in figuring out what the result column is. Right, so we have to visit the result column. The result column can be one or many. Where is that? Right, so result columns. So let's go visit that. Hmm. Hmm. Okay, let's do this. For is there okay for context column statement? I think I'm going to keep all of these as public. Maybe make it a list of past expression, right? So that I can set it like this instead of doing getters and setters. Statement dot columns to select if ctx dot result column. Okay, that's okay. List of past expression. URL list. Okay, so column start add visit context, and I'm going to cast this as a past expression, right? Then statement dot columns to select is I don't think we need an optional here, right? So why do you need an optional if there is a list? Doesn't make sense. Okay, so now ctx dot, is there a where clause? What is the where clause, right? Hmm. If ctx dot where expression is not equals to null, right? I think probably get a where expression here, right? So we won't do anything where. We'll do that later. But right now we're selecting this column and I must now visit the result column, right? So let's do that. Result column. I'm going to return a past expression here. Okay, so just return the expression. But what more do I need? Result column is a past expression. It's a table name or anything. It's an expression as column alias, right? So we are more worried about this thing. So I'm going to have to visit this expression. So let's visit it. Visit the expression. ctx dot. Hmm. Right, so let's visit this expression. I can just return this, I think. I don't need to do a visit expression for now, right? That's more not worried about column alias as well. So let's visit the expression. And here we will run into some challenges. So are we gonna visit this? Probably, I think we are more gonna visit this one, expr function, because we are looking at select star. Let's do that. expr function. Okay, so return. Okay, this is a parsed expression. Okay, and return expression. And in this, I'm gonna put a what function name, right? Call it private or put it public function name. Okay. So expression dot function name equals to visit. Hmm, ctx dot function name. Right, so I'm gonna cast this again as function name, but this time it will come to the function name and we'll return the whole thing. So technically at this point I should be, let's see, I should have the, okay, common table. We are here, we are here, we are here. Select core size is 1. Okay, so now we go into select core, go to the columns. Let's go visit the parsed expression, columns, parsed expression, and function name count. Perfect. Okay, so we visited the whole thing. So now we came up to this point, right? Page test. So AST, this is a select statement, isn't it? Right? AST dot columns to select dot get of 0 dot function name dot. Let's print this, see what happens. Cannot read columns to select because AST is null. Why is that? Why the hell is it null? Oh, okay. So we haven't done any parsing yet. Okay, so ctx dot statement list get of 0. Okay, so if ctx dot SQL statement list dot size is greater than 1, throw new unsupported operation exception. Only one statement is accepted. Okay, we visit this. We do this. The statement list is again, where are we? Statement list is again a series of scall. What does that? Okay, semicolons. We don't care about that. We'll only look at only one statement list. Statement list. Okay, so we again do the same thing. Return visit ctx dot a print of 0 because we only visit one. If it's greater than 1, we throw the exception. Okay, so now pass. What we did is we are, okay. The function name, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and look at the function name and then add a toString for this thing. ToString, and I think I should generate the toString. Right, so it will say that, hey, the name is function name. Perfect. So I can also go and put something like a select any of the select sum of whatever from apples, and it should technically parse it and say it's a sum function, but yeah, it's a sum function. Now we'll have to obviously validate if whatever that column we are selecting is part of all this. And I mean, there's a lot of things that we have to do to for making it a real production system. But at this point, we have a way to say that, hey, I need to know it's a function that I'm executing. It's an aggregate function that I'm executing, and then I can give it to the planner and then ask it to generate. But we won't get into all that. For now, if it's just a function name, we can just go and look at what it is. And what is the task asking me? Saying from Apple. So I also need the table name, right? So let's go get the table name. So select core has a table or subquery from. So let's go implement that. Right? So statement dot from table optional dot of visit ctx dot select core. I don't think this is the way. Okay, we don't care about this. We need to do it here. Okay. So statement dot from table is optional dot of visit ctx dot. Where are we? Where are we? Where are we? From group having by result column table or subquery. Okay, but we only care about one right now. Let's only put 0. And I expect I'll just be able to cast this to string, right? Okay, that's okay. That's okay. Still, from name is I can put it as any name. That ought to work. Okay, the statement is saying select statement any name from table. Just a second. Okay, so where did we leave off? Okay, so I'm supposed to, I have to figure out how to get the from, right? From table. So let's go for it. Okay, so table or subquery. Select statement says the builder visit function name, visit select core, visit select statement. So let's go visit table or subquery. Okay. Create table, create constraint, common yeah, table or subquery. So from table or subquery, what am I looking at? Table or subquery. I'm either looking at schema dot table name as table alias, index by index name. Okay, we don't care about that. Or complete table or subquery, which we also don't care about. But what we really want is this one, the table name. So let's see. Hmm. You know what? I can actually treat this as hash table name. Okay, and this one as hash table alias, and this one as hash table or, and this one as hash select table as select. I think that's what I should do. And then let me go in and return new any name. Let's just do it like this. Regenerate this thing. Let's see what happens. So right now, what we would expect is we should be seeing Antler generate the function for table name. Okay, let's go and do that. Visit table constraint table name. Yeah, there we go. Visit table name. Right. So CTX of RAM C++. Index name, schema name as. But what does the grammar really say? Table name. Right. That's what I want. I want the table name. That's what I want. So visit table name and select statement has from table. Let's call it any name equals to new any name. Let's just put it that way. Or let's get the table out first. It's null. What do we? Table name is any name. Perfect. So the table name. So let's also override that. Qualified visit table or index name. Table function is what you want. Qualified table name. I think this is what you want. Yeah, qualified table name is not what we want actually. I don't think so. What we want is table name, which is any name that's proper. Table or subquery has a table name. Why am I not getting a table name? Hmm, we don't want this. Okay, so why don't I see a visit for table name? Alter table, create table, CTE table name. Now, common table expression. Table as select. This is what we want. Yes. Return new any name, and it's going to be ctx.getText. Right? Perfect. I can as well return this. Now I go look at the page test, and if I run the page test, how do I run it without moving the mouse on Shift X? I think the function name is not a problem. Hmm. ast dot from table dot get. We shouldn't throw an error. That's what we want. Should return apples. Okay, wonderful. Gave me apples. Right, so let's go and look at any name. Do I have a? It's a record, so it should be fine. Function name also, I think I can pretty much name it as a record. Right? What's the syntax of any name? String name, right? Function name, function name. Let's do this. Function name, and then let's just call it function name, and we don't really need this. But is it causing anything else to break? Yeah, it is. Function name. I think I should just set it like this. Right, let's do this to solve this problem. And any other thing, let's run it. Okay, so dot get zero dot function name dot toString. Is it causing a problem? I don't think so. I think we should just run it like this. Print the toString. Okay, all good. So we have been able to parse this query, get the aggregate function as well as the table name it wants. Right? So we're gonna go and see what we need to do here. Right? So the other thing we also need to do is we need to know what the root page is for the table that we are interested in. Right? So let's do that. Right? So what we're gonna do is how do I structure this? It's actually, I think the way we can, I mean, the way we're gonna have to approach this is each table is gonna have to have a root page, the table abstraction, and then for that I have to, that's too complex right now. Maybe I can do something else. Okay, let's do this. Let's say I create a new class called a table name. Table. Okay, and it's going to be a record, and I'll call it any name, and then the root page, right? But think I think this is probably not the way to go. Maybe can keep it this way. Let's just leave it this way. What I'm gonna do is go and do. No, we need a table class for sure. I don't think we need a table. Or maybe let's call it Sqlite table. This is the representation of table in the database, in the actual file. Maybe that's how I put it. Right, so let's say it's still a record. I don't know, is record the right thing to use? Maybe not. And then what we have is it's private string name. Then we have the create SQL. Now this will come from the SQLite master, but private int root page. Do I really need the root page? If I can actually just pass it to the first page and expect it to, hmm, maybe not. Like I think the way I'm gonna have to approach this is get all the pages in, I mean, get all the cells in the, let's look at the SQLite page. Parse header, I have all this. So I think num cells in pages where the cells are there, all good. So the cell has serial type info. Okay, the one that I'm interested in pretty much is 0, 1, 2, 3. Serial type info of 3. Print content at 3. I think I should say get content at instead of print and then call the print outside maybe. Right, so that'll give me the value of this. Okay, so public actually it's a get content at byte data comma in serial type index. Hmm. What's the syntax to return a generic type? Is this what it is? Do I return generic type? I think it's last ChatGPT. I forgot the syntax. What's the syntax? Syntax for above. I think there is a T and let's see. Okay, we're missing the T. Do I need the type here? Maybe not, but I think I do. I'm gonna need to know what type I want to read it as. So it's gonna be an int, or is it going to be a string, or whatever it is? Right, so that's what I want. So let's go with this. Let's copy this thing. Okay. What I want to know is how do I, if type instance of integer, I'm gonna have to read this thing as, so type instance of long. So I'm gonna have to go and actually cast it to whatever the thing that I want. Right? So let's ask ChatGPT to implement this thing. Let's see what it says. Implement the above. If the caller is passing the type as, I want to read it as an integer, means the caller is going to have to know what the serial type is, right? Then do we really care? I don't think we should do that. I don't think the type is even needed. Hmm. Integer, long, double, float. We don't care about all of this. We only care about string as well as an integer. Big endian is what we want, I think. I think the integer one is a little bit tricky. Long dot value of v. So let's do this. Hmm. I think I don't need the actual type. So serial type info. Serial type info is already known. Right, so I can just get it as some type. Yeah. Sqlite doesn't have all of the others, so probably just use int for now. Right, so page size is in the total number of pages in SQLite database, how many can there be? Max number of pages in SQLite database. Okay, so this is basically not going to fit in an integer, I think. Right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's more than a billion, so we're going to have to read it as a long. Yeah, this is what I want. So let's go to this. What's the size? Where did I get the size from? We have, this is what we have. Long dot value of v, I'm going to cast it, and just the other thing I need to do is I need to cast it as an int to as a string to, right? We don't care about the rest. This is what we want. Not here. here. Then the rest is throw new unsupported operation exception. Only long and string are supported for now. Right? It's much better. So what we're going to do is we're going to go look at the SQLite table and actually maybe I need a table builder class. I think there are too many classes, but it's okay. I need to say for each of the, let's do that in main though. Right, let's do that in main. So for anything, we go and we load the page. Right, this is what we'll do. Okay, so I'm gonna wrap this thing in an exception block, try catch. So leave runtime exception E for now. What we will do basically is we loaded the page. I think what I need is a map of string comma SQLite table. The name of the table. Okay. Then the SQLite table basically is telling me that I have a root page name and I probably need the list of columns in order. Private list of string columns. And also I need a list of data types for each columns, not just that. So let's do that. Private list of string data types. Probably have an enum for this. Let's do that. Let's put an enum. Data type. I think SQLite only has text, int, real, blob, and null. That's all there is. Let's see, SQLite types. What are they? Null, real, integer, text, and blob. I think that's all we want. 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, perfect. So we'll go put the data types here. This has to be in order. Order matters here. If that's the case, I can just put it as a string array instead of a list. Right? I'll do the same thing here. How can I do that? Is an array of data types not possible? Custom type? That's odd. Can't be. So what's wrong with that? Why is it complaining? Oh, okay. Sorry. It's supposed to be data type, not data type. Let's rename this. There we go. I thought I'd forgotten Java for a second. um, So SQLite table, I'm going to go and build this thing. So what we are saying is SQLite cell dot get content at page dot get data. The content is, where is the create table? So 0, 1, 2, 3, right? 3. I want it as long dot class, right? Say it's actually root page table name. What's wrong with this? What the hell? This won't work. Ah, what am I missing here? How do I? Yes, let's do that. Mm-hmm. Mm. I think this is too complex. I don't think we should do this. Yeah, I question the need to do that. Can I not just treat it as a class? Hmm. I think what it's really saying is, I don't think so. This sounds absurd. What's wrong with this? I think this is the root cause. I think, yeah. Let's do this. Signature check, because it's not an instance of T, that makes it, but there's something else wrong going on here. Mm, that doesn't really work. Yeah, it's not the case. This is correct though. I mean, I'm able to say that, hey, read it as long. Let's go to, I mean, we'll figure that out. There's something that we can do. Type index is 2 and string dot class. So you're going to need to read the create statement as well. The type index for this thing is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? What I need to do is parse the whole create SQL, get the order of the columns, and build my hash map, this table map. Right? That's what I really need to do. We'll do that. We'll do that. I mean, here there are other things as well. It's not just this. We'll need to have a list of constraints as well. Okay, but we'll figure out all of that. Where's my mouse? We'll figure out all of that. Okay, but for now, what we are looking at is let's just solve this problem. We'll get to the create table problem. But put table name, come new SQLite table. SQLite table equals to new SQLite table, and new table will do table dot. I think some of this can be set. Okay, call it a depart class. See what just happens. Root page, comma string data type, constraint constraints. And I think we'll just leave it this way. I'm gonna put everything as null for now. String name is table name. Root page is root page. Comma null, null, null. Why is root page not working? Okay, root page I need to put it as long. Okay, so this will work. Now let's figure this out. Get content tag. What's the way to deal with this? Ask ChatGPT to fix it. You fix this. Man, I think but the type equals to okay, not an instance of, right? Simple. Let's say yeah, sort of work. Why do we have the sign extend? I don't think we need to do all of this right now. But it must be big endian for sure. Can I not read byte? Why not just read it as just from a buffer? Is that not possible? What all class methods does long expose? Hmm. Why not use byte buffer? Where is that? Mhm. Wrap dot. Long. Okay, so then why am I worried about this? Should I go through all of this thing? Decoding. Let's just see return. I think the big endianness will come and bite me in the ass later. Right? Maybe this is what I want. Form dot value of. Let's just do this. Hmm. What's missing? Yeah. Dot wrap d dot get log. Should work. I think we'll. If there's any problem, we'll see what that really does. But let's go and actually run this thing. I think we should refactor this to a method. So extract method. What I want is to get this bit. And so refactor this to a method. Build table map. Okay, here we are. Can I make this visible for testing? I don't think it is. Can I make static ones visible for testing? That sounds okay. So page tester. What we are saying is come up to this point. Main dot. No, it's not the right way. I'm gonna have to go and create probably a utils class or something. Yeah, let's move it there. To utils. Yeah, it should work, and let's make this public. Be able to test this thing then. Let's go to our test code. What's wrong? Go to our test code and just say okay, we're back. So SQLite page dot SQLite utils dot build table map. This is what we want, and then we're gonna use this, right? And what is that? Like it's saying, I think I should just return this. That's probably the way to go. And then just return table map. Table map. So do it. So page test map of string comma SQLite table map, and then we print this. Let's see. Main must be complaining right now. There's a problem here. So let's go do this. Delete this. We're typing where is the test code? We just run the test in the meantime. Hmm. What's problem? Problem. Buffer underflow. So I think we probably need to do what GPT said here, right? And let's see. Yeah. So oranges is at root page 4, apples is at root page 2, and the rest is at root page 3, SQLite sequence. We don't care about SQLite sequence, so let's skip that. Hmm, can we see something else? So now what's our next step? We know the root page. We're able to parse the query. What they really want is select count star from apples, right? So, I mean, the way we're gonna have to assume that is we're gonna have to build this is we have the from the syntax tree. I'm going to have to go and actually go and execute that. Um, Typically, like we talked about in the beginning, this thing does the whole traversal. I mean, the whole database execution works like this. There's a parser. Binding is where we go and do the table names, and there's a catalog. And the planner actually translates it into the plan nodes. Then we run it through the optimizer. Then we actually execute the query plan, right? But here it's somewhat, we don't have any of those. A full-fledged database is going to have to implement all of that. We'll get to it, but let's just do a basic select execution. Where is the test code here? SQLite page test. Hmm. So if ast dot columns to select dot is empty is not is empty, and ast dot columns to select dot size equals to 1, and ast dot columns to select dot get of 0 dot function name is not equals to null, and you also see equals to dot two lowercase, and what's the function name? Function name, I think we need the name, right? I think this should also be a record technically. Get name dot two lowercase dot equals count, right? We do a full on, we do a, let's do that. First get the table name, table map dot get ast dot from table dot get, right? I mean, that's the name of the table, so we really want a SQLite table. Okay, so it's gonna complain that hey, you know what, from table is probably not there. Okay, so get, actually it's an any name, right? So here we are. Now from the table, we have to load the root page, right? root page is equals to new SQLite page, but it's going to be page num, page size, and database string path. Page num is root page. Actually, SQLite page dot root page. Page size is something we already know. I think I should probably. So let's just say page size is 4096 for now. Okay, page size, comma, database file path. That is coming from our sample DB. Right? Let's do that. What is happening? Yeah, this probably be long, I think. Page number is a long, no doubt. Right, so let's go back and root page dot get numsil page. This is really what tells me the count of records in that table. Right? Okay, so that's a fail. Something happened. Let's do that. Hmm. We can't seek to page begin actually. Page begin is actually page number -1 star page size. This is what it is. Okay? Page begin. I mean, if the page number. This is page begin in the database. Not a problem. But cell pointers as well, I think it's a long. Because pages, like we said, the offset can be. The offset is long. Okay, 4. So count star is telling me 4. How many oranges are there? Let's go see that. Oranges are probably 6, I think. Maybe. Yeah, so let's look at this as well. SQLite 3 sample.db. Select count star from oranges. 6. Right? What other? Let's download all the other sample databases. I don't know why it hasn't downloaded anything before. Superheroes. SQLite 3 superheroes.db. So select count star from superheroes. 6895. Let's do that. Um, no, I'm gonna fail. Superheroes at all in the resources? I don't think so. Yeah, I should probably move all of them into the resources folder. Okay, now I think it will. What? Why is it telling me 4? That can't be right. It can't be right. Oh man. What is the root page for superheroes? Okay, so let's see. There are two. I mean, root page is still two, but why am I saying? Oh, yeah, there we go. That's the problem. That's the problem. That's the problem. That's the problem. This is more 108. So 108 in the. I mean, this one is probably spilling. I mean, my guess is this is not going to work because of the same problem. I think superheroes is still. Okay. I don't know. Let's see. Let's submit this and see what happens. I don't think that's the problem. It shouldn't be the case. We'll fix the issue. Right, so default, I think what I need to do for default is need to parse the AST. Let's get that. And this is actually command. And I think this is what it is. Sqlite page is going to throw a method, I mean, it's exception. So let's just wrap this whole thing up in a exception e.print stack trace and throw new runtime exception e. Let's see what's going to happen. Definitely didn't work. Let's do this. Oh man, the AWS outage must have caused problems for us as well. Hmm, what is happening right now? Step 13. Okay. Mm-hmm. Hmm. Build is successful. Hmm. But there's a real problem with the superheroes DB. I think we need to fix that. It says 6895. I don't really have any of those many cells in the thing. What's the page size for superheroes? Oh, wait, I think this is another problem. I shouldn't have done this. Okay, so let's see if setting the page size will work. Oh, problem. That's what we want. It'll fail. It will fail. I want to see superheroes.db. And why is that gonna fail constantly? It shouldn't fail. Just does stuff randomly. I don't even know what the hell is happening. The Sqlite table is null. Why? Okay, it's a companies.db. That's why. Yeah, we should probably put this thing in a variable name somewhere. 108 seems so less. Right? Okay, so I'll pause right now, let it come back, and then we'll see what the issues are.